Welcome back, guys. My name is Patrick, aka Chief Pat, and today, bringing you guys a special mailbag video. So usually, I'm doing mailbags by myself, but seeing as we are in sneak peeks, I brought in a special guest that you guys might remember from ClashCon. Jonas, how's it going, man?
Hey man, it's been a crazy week. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sure it has been. Have you seen the community lately? There's been a couple of questions about the changes. These definitely not what everyone was expecting coming into this 2 week period. So a lot of people have been sending in questions. I know Galadon posted a video yesterday. I was checking his comments. I checked the forum, the Reddit, my own comments, and I've got a lot of questions for you. They're gonna get a little difficult, but hopefully you can explain these changes, why you guys wanted to do them, and we'll sort of get to piece by piece about each section of the game. Does that sound good?
Yeah, we've been following all the feedback really closely, so I'm actually pretty eager to get a chance to just sort of a upfront talk about everything that's going on.
Cool. All right. Well, let's just start off. First of all, before we break apart into farming, trophies, all of that stuff, why did you guys actually decide to make these changes? I'm sure you're self-aware that Clash of Clans has been the number one game for like 3 years straight. I didn't see anyone really complaining. A lot of people were sort of content with the Town Hall Snipes, how they had their bases set up. But the way you guys are changing it to now seems a little bit more complex, especially maybe for the casual player. So what went into actually wanting to make these changes? And do you think they're going to be a little bit too complex for maybe the everyday player who doesn't check the forums or check YouTube or something like that?
Yeah, so those are really good questions. Like to start off with the question about complexity. So like absolutely, it's a lot of information, and I think we were sort of prepared that hey, this is a lot of complex changes to put down on paper. But the system has been sort of rethought from the ground up to be simpler to play, even if sort of the tech behind it and all the fine details behind it are getting a bit more complex. So
Yeah, I said those forum posts were longer than any high school or college paper I had ever written on Twitter. So they don't seem the most simple right now, but I guess they should be when people actually play the game.
yeah. I mean, and that should be the goal. The goal should be is that when you're sitting down and playing it, you don't have to think about all these massive posts worth of changes. But we felt it was very important to publish all of these changes like in detail in advance, so we could gather player feedback. So like we want to be as transparent as possible and have this sort of proactive discussion with the players about how and why the game is changing, and we don't want like any big surprises springing up under the hood when the update goes live. And actually we've already made a couple adjustments based on the player feedback. Like we've reduced the army requirement for getting a shield, added more village guard time to champ league. So your feedback has been really valuable. So thanks for all the feedback. But to get into this question about like why do this at all, and I think this is a really important question. And I think right now, frankly, a lot of people won't really care about anything else that comes in this update or even anything else we say if they don't get a clear and definitive answer as to like, why are you changing the town hall shields? Why are you, sort of changing the playing field so much? And this is, I think, the most important question of this entire update. So, if you want to bear with me here, I think
Go
to
ahead.
answer, yeah. So let's sort of like do a little imagining exercise. This might help make things a bit clearer for everybody. So let's imagine Clash as in a different world as this perfect game that's every bit as successful as it is now, but where 100% of players were engaged actively in battling. So everybody had good bases, everybody did good attacks. Players were able to experiment and have fun with different army compositions. They could go in and attack anytime they wanted, and you would win some, you would lose some, but overall there would be good loot everywhere, good bonuses, and you would always be able to progress. So like imagine Clash as this perfect game where everybody's playing the game for the fun of the game, where the experience is really well balanced and no one has to stress too much about how difficult it is to progress. So, if you have that in your head, now imagine that an update is coming along. And for the first time, we're releasing this new building that costs 1,000 gold and 1,000 elixir and lets any player vanish from that battlefield. Like they would just disappear from the game. No one would see them. No one could attack them. Their base would, kind of in a way become meaningless, and they could just go around tapping other people's buildings to get an unlimited amount of loot. So if
That
I was
sounds
playing,
great to me.
yeah, yeah, I know. But for me, if I was playing that game, I would see that new building and I would be like, you must be completely crazy. Why in the world would you add this building and sort of like ruin this battlefield just to give people an easy way to progress without playing? Why would you sort of take away the soul of what makes this game fun? So, like for me, that building wouldn't make any sense. And as more and more people started using it, I feel that it would spoil how fun that game was to play. So now, you probably see where I'm going. I think we sort of find ourselves in that world now. That building exists in our game, and it's called the Town Hall. And unfortunately, there are a lot of really valid reasons why many people have had to rely on vanishing from the game to make it enjoyable for them. The loot isn't good enough. They lose too much when they defend. They have to defend too much. Their shield runs out at bad times. They get attacked when they're not ready. They look away from their device and they get attacked when they didn't mean to. Progressing is too hard. The battles are too risky. So we've been thinking for a very long time, well over a year, and talking with dozens of players from all different walks of the game about how we can make our Clash closer to that perfect game we'd like it to be. And the problem isn't just that magic building that lets people vanish from the game, but it's like all of these surrounding reasons why we have come to need to use it. So like, removing this building isn't enough to get us to that, perfect Clash. We need to make shields better. We need to make progression less stressful. We need to make, skillful attacking better rewarded, and sort of like in a general sense, we need to relentlessly seek out these problems in our game experience and address these things that are keeping people from enjoying the Clash, enjoying Clash to its fullest potential. So, this is really important, not just to make sure Clash stays healthy as a game, but it's essential to making sure that the game stays interesting and challenging for the years to come. So I would say this update is the start of that effort, a very long-term, long-planned effort. And yes, as much as we all know that players like the Town Hall Shield, removing that ability to just vanish from the game is an absolutely mandatory part of it. So this is by no means the entire story, and this update is by no means the end of trying to make Clash into that better game. We're going to have to keep on tackling this issue, and the way I see it, if we just step back and all ask ourselves, which of these games would we rather choose Clash to be? Would it be this game where everyone vanishes and taps buildings to progress, or this sort of like active battlefield where everyone's fighting and involved and progressing with fair play and low stress? I think I know which one I would choose. So maybe that answers your question.
I think a lot of people are scared that, first of all, the way that they've been playing the game for a while isn't going to be the same, obviously, not having those free shields. But I think people might be thinking that from now on, it's going to be impossible to save up those loot to do those upgrades, whether it's being a Town Hall 8, saving up for your higher level Barbarian King, stuff like that. By having people constantly attacking back and forth and not getting that free shield, theoretically, you're going to be seeing higher level players attacking you. Or how is that balance going to be working out with farming now that we have these changes? And how is it really going to change how people are playing the game from a farming perspective? And are they actually going to be able to get those upgrades done that they want to be able to get done?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I want to start by saying that I completely understand the fear and worry that's being felt by farmers right now. So, I mean, like as I was just saying, like progressing in Clash can be super difficult and, really demanding at times. And farming sort of came up, I think, as this like nice and easy way to keep progressing without having to stress too hard about the game. And we absolutely want to continue to support that sort of more casual play style. So, I can completely understand why some players might, actually be very angry if they felt that we were taking away that from them, like that ability to just sort of enjoy the game in a more casual way. And again, I think this all comes down to the Town Hall Shield, like you were saying. It was such a huge help to make the game less stressful to play, because basically you could avoid any losses on defense other than that 1,000 gold, 1,000 elixir, So in a way, you almost never had to worry about losing what you earned. But now you have to bring the Town Hall inside. Now you have to take proper defense. You will lose a bit of resources, maybe a lot of resources, depending on how hard you get hit. And so I get how it can be very worrying to think about, I'm going to be losing so many resources, and that you would lose control of being able to play the game in this casual way. So, like, let's talk practicalities here. So let's talk through like how farming is going to be changing after the update.
Okay.
And yeah, and honestly, I don't think it's really going to be changing that much. Like, a lot of people are already playing the game in this way. They're already playing the game with the Town Hall Inn. They're managing their losses, and I think ultimately it comes down to managing that negative hit, that loss of resources when you defend. So it's gonna happen. How do you recover? And the simplest answer is, after these changes, after you defend, you attack. So it costs you 3 hours of shield. So if you can make up what you lost with one attack, you're golden. And actually, you can attack 2 times. You can even attack up to 3 times now before your shield is fully depleted to try to make up what you lost. And because you're doing it when your shield is up, you can take your time. You can let your troops train. You can attack when you're ready. And I think this is sort of like around the fundamental change that's going to be happening here. So recovering from this loss on defense is going to be a lot more important, I think, for all farmers now. But the ability to attack through shield is an incredibly powerful tool to do that. And because you're shielded, you don't have to worry about being attacked. You can maybe even train up a stronger army, spend a bit longer looking for that perfect base. And I think farmers that get really good at this defense recovery can actually end up coming out, incredibly ahead than what they are now. And I want to emphasize this point here because I think this mental shift, all of us are going to be making this mental shift as a player. And it's even taken us in the team a while to wrap our heads around, how is playing the game going to feel different, especially as a farmer. And I think it's going to be much, much clearer once people just start playing the game after the update is out. It's going to change from this sort of like, I'm shielded, don't attack, or I'm not shielded, attack all I can, to this more sort of flexible, I don't care if I'm shielded or not, I just attack when I want to. And if you want to have a really focused farming session, there should be better targets, your farming should be more productive, and you can even get this 2-hour village guard to make sure you don't accidentally get cut off. So I think farming won't be changing that much. This sort of zero loss farming, that's going to change, yeah. You're going to have to think about how you recover from defenses more, but frankly, that's part of the game, and we're trying to make it way easier than it used to be to recover from defenses with the supporting shield and village guard changes.
So another thing you guys touched on, obviously the shield changes were the first sneak peek that we had, but getting into the personal break feature, especially as how that fits into shields, I thought that might have been maybe the most confusing topic out of all of them. I know I read through the text entirely, and I still had a question that I asked you before the interview started. So
yeah, a lot of questions in the team too. It's been complicated to implement, so I can understand. Yeah,
I'm wondering if you could give the best explain, like I'm 5 years old, if possible, about the personal break changes.
Yeah, we've had to do that to each other too because it's very complicated, and there's good reasons for that. Part of making sure this Battlefield ecosystem is healthy is making sure that people actually defend, and bringing the Town Hall in as part of that, and personal break changes are part of that. But I think, again, from the player perspective, you should really not have to think about this too much. So the way I've been thinking about it, that's very simple to understand the personal break changes, is when you go on defense, one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to get a shield and personal break gets reset, no worries, or you don't get a shield or you don't get attacked, and instead you get this sort of extension to your personal break and this free village guard. So I think a lot of the confusion sort of comes out from these very extreme edge cases, like what happens if I hit my personal break limit, I get kicked out, and I don't take a defense, or I don't get a shield, and those are sort of these complex cases that we've had to sort of slog through and make sure the system is as tight as it needs to be. And the personal break timeout, basically, if you go through a 6-minute personal break timeout without getting attacked, that is considered equivalent to taking a defense without getting shield. So if you go all the way to your personal break and you go 6 minutes without getting attacked, you can immediately come back online. You get this 15-minute extension. You can keep on attacking, but because you didn't get attacked, you go back to personal break after 15 minutes. It's the same thing if you got attacked and like somebody dropped one troop and trophy dropped. Like, you shouldn't really get a shield for that. So basically, I think in the vast majority of cases, you're just thinking, what happens after defense? Do I get a shield? With the 30% shield threshold now, you should very likely get a shield. It should be like almost all cases you should get a shield, and if you don't, then you're just going to get this sort of extension until you take your next defense. Does that make a bit more sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, for example, if let's say I'm an unshielded player, I'm going to play for three straight hours. My personal break's going to kick in. 6 minutes is going to go by, and let's say I don't get attacked. That'll count, let's say, as like one defensive win or whatever, and then you'll get that 15-minute village guard, which of course you can dismiss, right? You can dismiss that immediately, and let's say you just defend again right away.
So yeah, like if you absolutely want to get back to your 3-hour personal break, yes, you can just if you get kicked out, nothing happens. You can just immediately hit the minus button, dismiss it, go again, and you're either looking for the shield or you're looking for sort of like the 3 defensive wins. So it's going to be either one or the other. And with the shield thresholds and with people actually doing more proper attacking and not having the town hall snipes, I think the shields are going to be coming a lot more reliably than they used to.
Okay. And one question I want to sneak into this is I wanted to ask you this, but with all of this focus on defense and defending your village, bringing that back into the forefront of the game, not making it an attack only game, have you guys thought at all about maybe some sort of defensive bonus for successful attacks?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question. Like in the past, I would say that defensive bonuses would have been completely off the table just because
the town halls on the outside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're getting a defensive bonus for somebody dropping one troop or whatever, that doesn't make any sense. But if you can really straighten out this battlefield and try to make sure the defenses are proper, the attacks are proper, that like when you get a defensive win, you earned that defensive win, and there's not really a way to sort of cheaply exploit that, then I think absolutely we can start thinking about defensive wins again. But this is going to have to come post these changes, just because right now a defensive win doesn't really mean anything.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, skipping on to the next segment of players we want to talk about, that's going to be for trophy pushers. So a lot of the changes, whether it is the changes for like the trophy algorithms, which is going to be really nice, by the way. I know I'm going to be pushing back up to Legend League after this update drops at Town Hall 11. No more one trophy offers. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you're spot on there. Like a lot of the changes here focus on trophy pushers and people who play competitively, and that's just because these players, the competitive players, I'm sure you've experienced this, they have gotten some of the worst of what Clash has to offer. Huge waiting times, terrible offers.
It's miserable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and it's been a very long term and frankly difficult job to improve that situation. So we're trying, and we think this update will probably make the biggest impact out of anything we've done so far. But I think it's important to address also that this update isn't just for trophy pushers. We want to put more loot and more targets into matchmaking for everyone. We want to make the play sessions more flexible for everyone. We want everyone to sort of enjoy playing the game more and worry less about their ledger sheets, whether it is loot or trophies. And we think that security in village defense and village protection, we think that's going to be like majorly improved for everyone, as well as being able to attack with less risk and with greater offers on the table. So, and we've been saying that we think this is a much fairer system for everyone, and I think the main reason why is because we're giving everybody access to higher value targets, no matter how they play the game. Whether you're trophy pushing, whether you're farming, whether you're having these marathon attacking sessions or just attacking once per day, no matter where you're playing it, there should be more compelling offers on the table for you in multiplayer.
So one more question that I saw a lot of people had regarding to finding bases is that now that the fact that people are going to be protected by shields and the village guard, they might be seeing less multiplayer matches. What would you say to those people?
Yeah, so this is I think this is a fantastic question. Like I'm glad that some people were asking about this. And it kind of it stands to reason that if people are shielded more, they're getting this village guard, they're attacking through shield and all that, like won't the amount of matchmaking targets drop. So we don't often talk about player statistics about our game in Supercell, but there is one statistic that I think is really, really important.
Drop it on me.
Yeah, like this is, I think, this sort of frames not only why we're not worried about a drop in multiplayer, but just why it's so important that we're doing these changes in this update. So we looked at up and down on all levels of play in multiplayer matchmaking, and we found that in some levels of multiplayer matchmaking, up to 80% of attacks were town hall snipes.
What?
So yeah, I mean, so it's like one, or a few units. They're picking off a town hall in the corner and letting that target, just disappear from matchmaking without ever having to properly defend.
Was that Titan 3?
No, this is actually across the board, and it actually is. Yes, it's with the top level players now as well, and many players are actually doing this hundreds of times per day because it is so easy, it's so fast, and it's so cheap. So like think about that. Like this is a huge percentage of the matchmaking pool, and likely the best targets in the matchmaking pool that are they're just gone,
saving up the resources.
Yeah, because the
people
town
are actually getting those resources.
Exactly. So when we remove this mechanic of the town hall shield, we're unlocking in a way a huge amount of targets that have never really been accessible to most players who aren't doing hundreds of town hall snipes a day. And this is fundamentally why we are stressing the fact that we feel this is a fairer system, because like say if you're a casual player, right? You have almost no chance of finding one of these good targets because you're just sort of stuck with the leftovers of what these ravenous town hall snipers are leaving behind. So this is going to change.
Wow, I didn't know. I didn't know it was 80%. That's pretty ridiculous. So, wow. Okay. Well, another question I saw, and this one actually pertains to me. This one hits home, man. And I got to tell you, because I know when Clan Wars came out, my defenseless base couldn't find a clan war for like 5 months, and I kept emailing you over and over again. And I still haven't tested it again. I need to try that again, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently, it should be
testing those edge cases, man.
Okay. All right. Well, now with defenseless accounts, what's going to be happening to those type of people? Because let's say on my Town Hall 10 account, I only have a single level 1 cannon, and even though that's given me problems in some raids before, as subscribers have known, yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to defend against less than, what is it, you guys changed it to 33% of an army composition?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't know if I'm going to be able to defend against that, so I'm pretty much going to be, theoretically, I'm going to be in a perpetual cycle of getting my butt kicked. What do you have to say about that one?
Yeah. I think it's true. These defenses or these like super rushed accounts are going to be in kind of a weird spot. So like they've already been in a weird spot. That's just sort of the thing. It's sort of like in theory, if you have Town Hall 4 defenses, you should be playing with other Town Hall 4s. But we have this separation in the game of attack and defense, and that is what it is. So it's true. I think these players with these sort of very extremely lopsided accounts, they're gonna find it harder to get shield until the drop low enough.
To say the least.
Yeah. So I mean, like if somebody can steamroll you with a single hero,
or
but
3 Hog Riders.
But basically, so it's going to happen that I think these people are going to drop, but eventually they'll hit a point where you will be able to build back up. And I honestly, I think this sort of defenseless rushed account at a high level thing that has only ever been made possible in the first place because you could vanish from matchmaking with the Town Hall shields. So, now that we're removing that mechanic, it's going to be bringing that into balance. You have to upgrade your defense in line with your offense if you want to progress into higher levels. So, like, my advice for the people who are doing that, like, of course, for you, it's different because you just want to make a YouTube series that's just like, how far can I go with my defenseless account? But for other people, who are in this weird spot, I would just, my best advice is, just start building your defenses.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's exactly what they want to hear.
Yeah, I know, and but I mean the early upgrades they're very cheap, and it's not as hard to get the ball rolling as you think.
Their upgrades are cheap because they're level 1 cannons.
Yeah, 1,000 gold for a cannon, that's not going to break the bank. You can start growing again. You have to focus on your defenses. Like I'm sorry, but you have to keep it in line with your offense.
All right, I need to finish my Chief Challenge series with Galadon. I think we're at like 2,520 trophies with level 1 cannons. Or I think Galadon gemmed all the defenses because he's a gemmer. But for me, I think that account's going to be dropping pretty soon from what you're saying. But okay, all right. Well,
somebody had to get the short end. I'm sorry about your no defense 1 cannon base.
It's
but
okay. Chief Challenge. He'll be okay. He'll find a place in the game some way, somehow. Maybe I'll turn him into my Town Hall 10 account, like I was saying, when I go to Town Hall 11. I guess that covers most of the sneak peek stuff. I'm going to give you the floor in a second, but I did want to ask you actually one more thing because we talked about farmers, we talked about trophy pushers. As I'm sure you know, there's a lot of people in the clan war community that are generally pretty active when it comes to discussion, and generally they're some of the most hardcore players. So, what about a question that I've been getting a lot on Twitter? I've responded to a couple of them. Personally, I think it would be sort of easy to implement into the game. What about the idea of implementing arranged war matchups? So let's say, just like Smashland, if you guys ever played Smashland when it was in beta for Supercell, really fun game, but pretty much you could challenge people inside of your clan. But let's say it's clan versus clan. Let's say I'm in the Classronauts. I want to arrange a war with Lost Phoenix clan. Maybe there would be some sort of thing. I click a button and I type in their clan tag and we go to war, and we can make it exploitable by not winning any resources, strictly for bragging rights. What do you have to say about that? Just arrange war matchups in general and something along those lines.
Yeah, this has came up a lot actually, and just like to start off with, you were saying like, yeah, this update is super heavily focused on not war stuff, so I understand if the war community feels a bit sort of like, hey, what about us? We've been doing a crazy, you've been with us, in these events. We're doing a crazy amount of like events abroad, experimenting with tournament clan war formats and all this stuff in parallel with this update. And one of the things that we kept hearing all over the place from many different players is like, yeah, we just want to do this, we want to just have a war with our friends or with people in our clan family, and we don't care if they're loot or whatever clan XP on the board. We just want to be able to fight, and I think it's a super cool idea, and like we've been discussing it in the team a huge amount, and so like here's the honest answer. The thing is, this feature of being able to arrange a friendly clan war matchup, there is actually a huge amount of technical overhead. Like it's a massive feature, because you have to start thinking about, what about clans who are already in war? Do you have two wars at once? How does the invite system work? Do you have to register for this if it's like part of the clan versus part of the clan? And the thing is, I think while there are a few clan families, a few players, events, very active players, very good clan war players that would love this feature, I think the general population, they want to see rewards, they want to see loot, they want to see clan XP, they don't want a clan war for free in a way. So you're
giving me the single player answer, the single player map answer. That
okay, but I have a slightly better answer for you here, because the thing is, like, I think the general population there probably wouldn't care as much. But the thing is, what we've been stressing for so long about, what we were mentioning at ClashCon about, we have these clan war tournaments that we've been experimenting with. Is this something you want to see in the game? Do you want to like see some sort of competitive mode in the game with short-term, fast-paced clan wars? And with that system, we could build in resources, we could build in a league system, we could build in some sort of trophy ladder for clan wars. And the magic thing is that system, the technical challenges to implementing that system overlap almost completely with a friendly, let's just match up and have a fun war thing. So the way we're thinking about it is that, if and when we move into that direction of having proper clan war tournaments in the game, this sort of friendly clan war feature is going to almost kind of come for free. And it makes a lot more sense to do that feature in a package with the actual clan war tournament mode, structured mode with rewards for everybody, because it's kind of the same amount of work. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess that feeds into maybe clan war tournaments, something you guys are working sometime on soon.
Top of our mind. Please keep giving us your feedback about that. We want to hear what you have to say, and thinking longer term into the future after this update, after all the crazy town halls coming inside and all this stuff. We're still very keen on developing the war community and the clan war experience. So thanks for the question.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple. I think that answered a couple questions. So I'm gonna let you go. I guess we've been on for a long time now, but thank you for answering the questions. And I guess before you go, I'll let you. If you have any last words you want to say to the community, go ahead and drop them on them now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me the chance to talk through this. I know it's quite a daunting change set, and it's always a bit, sort of like a tense situation when there's all these changes happening to a game that you know and love and appreciate. And our job as the developers of this game are sort of like trying to take care of the health of the game in the long term, and trying to get it to get the game experience as well as we can for all players. So, keeping you guys involved is super important. We really value being able to have a sort of upfront discussion. We don't want to be hiding things behind the scenes. We want to be very transparent as to why we're doing the changes that we're doing. So thank you for staying active. Thank you for listening. And I guess that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate you giving me some words. Hopefully it helped out with a couple of people. Personally, for me, I'm just excited to see when the update comes out, really see all the changes in action, get a chance to test it, and it should be a fun time. So that's going to do it for this video. If you guys actually want to check out a video that Galadon's going to be doing, and I believe he's going to be posting it in just a little bit, he's going to be talking with Jonas about some additional features that you guys might want to see added into the game, including some of the tough questions that I'm sure Jonas is going to have a fun time answering. So make sure you guys check that out. I'll throw a link to that one in the description below. Again, thanks to Jonas, and I believe tomorrow we got some good sneak peeks coming up for some new content, right?
Yeah, it's about time to start getting back into the the fun stuff, the new buildings, new defenses, Town Hall 11, all that stuff. So let's get into the gameplay.
Okay, all right, that sounds good to me, man. Thank you again for stopping by, Jonas, and until tomorrow, we'll have some more of those goodies, and I will see you guys later. Peace out.